Hello learners, welcome to NIOS Studio. Today we are going to start a topic Genetics and Society Part 2. What is the importance of genetic engineering? By now you know what genetic engineering is. It is the engineering of the gene or the changing the DNA or the RNA with whatever is the genetic material of an organism. Genetic engineering, where it is used and what is the importance of genetic engineering. It is used for manufacture of compounds like antibodies, vaccines, hormones, vitamins and enzymes. Many a times we have seen that suppose a patient is suffering from a disease and it is not able to produce enough antibodies. So, the antibodies can be produced artificially in the bioreactors and can be administered to the patient. Then vaccines are produced by the use of genetic engineering. You know what vaccines are. Vaccines are basically the attenuated organism which cause the disease. Once they are given to the person, it creates the immunity in the body of an organism. So, vaccines can be produced with the help of a genetic engineering. Hormones, vitamins and enzymes, they are also produced when we use the genetic engineering. Genetic engineering is also used for breaking down the pollutants by making recombinant bacteria. In nature has created the pathways for the breakdown of the pollutants, and we can always select out the bacteria, say some metal resistance gene if they have, we can take them, recombine them in the bacteria which can be used to clean the environment of those pollutants. It is used in making gene banks or gene library. We have already talked about the gene banks. Then it is used in gene therapy. Some of the diseases, say let's take an example of a thalassemia, and person who is suffering from this disease, it is a genetic defect, and if in the embryonic stage we can incorporate this particular repaired gene into the body of an organism of an individual at the developmental stages only, then the person is cured of that disease and he can lead a healthy life. So, that was the one example of gene therapy, and it can be used at lot many places. And then in raising the transgenic plants. Transgenic plants are the plants in which some foreign gene has been added, like a herbicide resistance. What are transgenic microbes and plants? Transgenic organisms are genetically modified organisms whose genome has been altered by adding a gene or genes from other organisms. The examples of transgenic organisms used for human welfare are, in case of microbes, human insulin gene added to bacterial genome. Then bacteria are used for decomposing pollutants, and bacteria are used for the extraction of metals in metallurgy. Then in plants, the herbicide and pest resistant plants have been produced. Example is the Bt cotton and Bt brinjal. The gene from the Bacillus thuringiensis has been incorporated into the plant body. In animals, gene for growth hormone has been inserted into pig and fish so that their body size increases. And in transgenic goat, they have produced a blood clotting protein in their milk, which can be given to patients suffering from hemophilia. That is again a genetic disorder. Now, how in Bt crops the gene for the pest resistance has been introduced. The gene which is responsible for providing the pest resistance is a cry gene, which produces an endotoxin. This cry gene which produces endotoxin was transferred to obtain a Bt transgenic plant. As you can see, a bacillus here and the cry gene. the cryogene is isolated from the bacillus and has been incorporated into the plant. Now this plant is resistant to the pest. When the insect feeds on the transgenic plant, because plant is already synthesizing all parts of the plant, they contain an active protoxin. And once the insect eats the plant, the proteinase digestion in the insect guts converts this protoxin into an active toxin, which ultimately kills the insect. And as you must have read in the newspaper also, that these BT cotton and BT brinjal, these crops have been intensively used even in India. Now, before any country acquires some transgenic plant or an animal, then certain biosafety norms or procedures are to be followed. So, in year 2000, many countries agreed to a biosafety protocol by which safety of using the GM crops is first ascertained before using them, because many a times what happens, certain infectious organism can make it can cause a disease or spread an infection in a laboratory. So before we get any plant from some other country into our country, we need to follow certain biosafety procedures and norms. In India, the Department of Biotechnology, in compliance with rules of Environment Protection Agency, grants the permission for use of the GM crops. GM are the genetically modified organisms or the GM crops. Now, biopiracy. What is biopiracy? Biopiracy is the process of commercially exploiting naturally occurring biochemical or genetic material, especially by obtaining patents that restricts its future use, while failing to pay fair compensation to the community where it originates. As in the case of neem, that is Azadirachta indica, lot many compounds are produced in this plant and the people, they got the patent for this, but later on it was revoked. So biopiracy is common, especially in the countries which are quite developed. They take up the genetic material from the center of diversity and get it biopatented. But now the norms are becoming stricter and stricter, and it's not that easy to get the patent of any material. Now, what is biopatent? Is a right granted by government to an inventor to prevent others from commercial use of the invention. When patent is granted for biological entities and products obtained from them, these patents are called the biopatents. Now, biopatent can be granted for strains of a microorganism, cell lines, genetically modified plants and animals, DNA sequences, because we can artificially synthesize the DNA sequences and use them further, then proteins encoded by DNA sequences, biotechnological processes, as we have studied this PCR chain reaction, polymerase chain reaction, an invention or a discovery, a concept or design, or for the improvement of an earlier invention. The biopatents can be granted. Now, another technique which has been used very frequently in the forensic sciences or to determine the paternity is the DNA fingerprinting. DNA fingerprinting is a technique developed by Alec Jeffrey in 1984. It is a method used to identify individual from a sample of DNA by looking at unique patterns in their DNA. Now, what are these unique patterns? In human beings, there is a lot of DNA that is also known as the junk DNA, and the repeated sequences, that is VNTR sequences, variable, nuclear tandem repeats. These sequences, they do not code for anything and they are passed on from generation to the next generation. So they show a lot of polymorphism. So these DNA sequences are used in the DNA fingerprinting to determine or the paternity test. It is also called DNA typing, DNA profiling, genotyping or identity testing. Now the steps involved in DNA fingerprinting are: first is the isolation of DNA from the sample, then increase the quantity of DNA sample by polymerase chain reaction, then digestion of the DNA by enzyme restriction endonuclease to create sticky ends, and the separation of DNA fragment by gel electrophoresis. How the DNA segments are separated in a gel electrophoresis is based on the charge and mass ratio of the DNA fragments. And we know that when we make the fragments are of different size and they do carry different charge on them. This is an example which shows that how we can determine or ascertain who is a suspect of a crime scene. The blood sample is there and then we have a suspect 1 and suspect 2. We run the DNA extracted from the blood sample which we have collected from the crime scene onto a gel electrophoresis. As we can see in the first set, there are 2 red bands formed on a gel electrophoresis. This blue plate-like structure is a gel electrophoresis. And then we collect the DNA sample from the suspect 1. We run it on a gel electrophoresis. In that we got only 1 band. And then we run the DNA sample collected from the second suspect, and as we can see clearly, the DNA sample of the second suspect matches with the DNA sample collected from the crime scene. So we can ascertain that suspect number 2 is actually the person who has committed a crime. And we have also shown some repeat sequences. In the first case, there is 112 repeat sequences and one set of 16 repeat sequences. While in the case of suspect 1, there are only 12 and 12 repeat sequences, and in the case of actual person who has committed a crime, the DNA is having a 12 repeat sequences and the 16 repeat sequences, that is similar to what we have obtained at a place of crime. Now, what is genome and genomics? Genome is a total genetic material of an organism, and genomic is the analysis of genome data and finding out the function of the nucleotide sequences in the DNA of an organism. Now, we know the genome sequence of E. coli, Saccharomyces, Arabidopsis, and also human genome has been mapped. This human genome mapping was a very big project, and the human genome is approximately 3 into 10 raised to power 9 base pairs, and scientists, they have identified more than 20 to 25,000 genes in a human DNA. In this slide, we can see that what all diseases, the gene for various diseases are present on which chromosome. Say in chromosome number 1, there is a gene for a Gaucher disease, and in the X chromosome there is a gene for muscular dystrophy. So we know that the human genome has been mapped, and this is a sketch of what all defective genes are present on human chromosome, and that too at which particular chromosome. Like in chromosome number 11, there is a gene for sickle cell anemia, in which the blood cells take the shape of a sickle and are not able to carry enough oxygen. Now, as in the previous slide, we have seen that there are many defects in the human genome, and which are present in certain individuals. So, whenever people, suppose a person who is thalassaemic and a carrier thalassaemic, both the individuals, the wife as well as husband, or both the parents are carrier for thalassemia, and if they want to have a child, so they can always go to genetic counselor to find out whether they should have a child or not. So genetic counseling is an advice given regarding genetic disorder to a couple so that they can decide whether to have a child or not if their earlier born is suffering from some genetic disorder or they have a family history of genetic disorder. And this work of genetic counseling is done by pedigree analysis. Pedigree analysis is a method to identify a pattern of inheritance of a particular trait among humans. How do we do pedigree analysis? As you can see in this diagram, the blue box and the square one represents the males and blue represents the affected males, means they are suffering from alkaptonuria. And the circle represents the female partner, and yellow color shows that the individual is not affected. So the parents are, the male is affected, so it is a carrier we can say also, and the female is unaffected. When they produce a progeny, the male will produce both and we already know that alkaptonuria is a recessive disorder. In the second generation, again the male is affected and the female will become the carrier now because she has the heterozygous, this particular gene in a heterozygous condition, capital A, that is the normal one, and the small a, which is a recessive gene for the alkaptonuria. Then in the third generation also, some of both males as well as the females are the carriers we can see. So if we study the inheritance of character for the number of generations, then it is known as the pedigree analysis. And through pedigree analysis, the genetic counselor can always suggest what is the chances of the individual who is a carrier or is affected by a disease, what percentage or what are the chances of the person that he will bear a normal child. So pedigree, and through pedigree analysis we can find out whether the child who is to be born is going to be normal or affected. I think with this we have covered genetic engineering, DNA fingerprinting, pedigree analysis and genetic counseling. So you must have enjoyed this chapter. Thank you.
प्रकाशित करने राहों को आलोकित करने, हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने, हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने। जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने राहों को आलोकित करने।
धन साधन समय की सीमा से विद्यालय जो मुक्त हो,
कभी पढ़े हम कहीं पढ़े, वे विषय की लोच से युक्त हो।
कभी पढ़े हम कहीं पढ़े, वे विषय की लोच से युक्त हो।
मित्रों हम उठे और जागे,
मंजिल आने की ध्वनि सुने हम, अपना जीवन स्वयं बने हम, अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने।
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने, राहों को आलोकित करने।
राष्ट्रीय मुक्त विद्यालय का है द्वार खुला सबकी खातिर।
शिक्षा परीक्षा का अवसर एक बार ही क्यों मिलता फिर।
शिक्षा और परीक्षा का अवसर एक बार ही क्यों मिलता फिर। दुनिया में इसके केंद्र बहुत,
कोई मन चाहा केंद्र चुने हम, अपना जीवन स्वयं बने हम, अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने। कोई मन चाहा केंद्र चुने हम, स्वयं बने हम,
घर बैठे पाएं राष्ट्रीय मुक्त विद्यालय शिक्षा संस्थान यानी NIOS में एडमिशन, वो भी एकदम आसान तरीके से, जिससे शिक्षार्थियों को होगी समय और धन दोनों की बचत। NIOS से शिक्षा कभी भी कहीं भी। शिक्षार्थियों, क्या आप जानते हैं NIOS में एडमिशन लेने का सरल और सुगम तरीका, जिससे शिक्षार्थियों को ऑनलाइन प्रवेश लेने में सहूलियत मिलती है। NIOS में प्रवेश की प्रक्रिया पूर्णतया ऑनलाइन है। शिक्षार्थी घर बैठे इंटरनेट द्वारा प्रवेश के लिए सबसे पहले NIOS की वेबसाइट www.nios.ac.in पर लॉगिन करें। अपना ईमेल आईडी और पासवर्ड डालकर अपना पंजीकरण करें। पंजीकरण के बाद लॉगिन करने पर ऑनलाइन प्रवेश हेतु आवेदन पत्र खुलेगा। आवेदन पत्र को निर्देशानुसार भरें और प्रिंट आउट लें। इस प्रिंट आउट पर अपनी फोटो संलग्न करें। ऑनलाइन प्रवेश के लिए शुल्क हेतु भुगतान के तरीके हैं: क्रेडिट कार्ड के द्वारा, डेबिट कार्ड के द्वारा, राष्ट्रीयकृत बैंक के ड्राफ्ट के माध्यम से, जो कि सचिव NIOS नई दिल्ली या नोएडा के पक्ष में देय हो। भरे हुए आवेदन पत्र के साथ साथ डिमांड ड्राफ्ट और संलग्न किए जाने वाले दस्तावेज हैं: जन्म रजिस्ट्रार के जिला कार्यालय से जारी जन्म प्रमाण पत्र की सत्यापित प्रति, जिसमें जन्म तिथि अंकित हो, पिछले विद्यालय से प्राप्त विद्यालय छोड़ने का प्रमाण पत्र, जिसमें आवेदक की जन्म तिथि लिखी हो। प्रवेश फॉर्म का प्रिंट आउट NIOS के संबद्ध क्षेत्रीय केंद्रों पर 10 दिनों में पहुंच जाना चाहिए, अन्यथा उचित दस्तावेज न लगे होने पर आवेदन फॉर्म रद्द किया जा सकता है। प्रवेश प्रक्रिया की पुष्टि होने के बाद शिक्षार्थियों को परिचय पत्र व अध्ययन सामग्री डाक द्वारा तुरंत पहुंचाई जाती है। ऑनलाइन प्रवेश एक बहुत ही सुगम और सुविधाजनक प्रवेश प्रणाली है। Online on time for safe and secure admission.
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने राहों को आलोकित करने,
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने राहों को आलोकित करने, हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने।
अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने।
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने राहों को आलोकित करने।
धन साधन समय की सीमा से विद्यालय जो मुक्त हो,
धन साधन समय की सीमा से विद्यालय जो मुक्त हो।
कभी पढ़े हम कहीं पढ़े वे विषय की लोच से युक्त हो।
कभी पढ़े हम कहीं पढ़े, वे विषय की लोच से युक्त हो।
मित्रों हम उठे और जागे,
मंजिल आने की ध्वनि सुने, हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने।
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने राहों को आलोकित करने।
राष्ट्रीय मुक्त विद्यालय का है द्वार खुला सबकी खातिर।
शिक्षा परीक्षा का अवसर एक बार ही क्यों मिलता फिर।
शिक्षा और परीक्षा का अवसर एक बार ही क्यों